It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And every single time I read or hear someone read off this Roosevelt quote, I get goosebumps. The man and the arena. I absolutely love this quote. I've spent months dissecting what it means, how it's impacted my life, the things I've been living inside of it, and I'm excited. I knew there was no better place to start than right here, talking about the arena as I jump into this arena of podcasting. I'm really, really passionate about this and really what this means if you break it down. And again, you've probably seen this in a variety of different spaces. There's a Tom Brady show that came out recently, The Man in the Arena, and that's quoting this. That LeBron James actually writes on the outside of his shoe, Man in the Arena. Pretty sure this is some form of where this comes from. I've done a couple of seminars and heard a couple of speakers that they discuss the man in the arena, the person in the arena, and it all circles back to this. Whether you're a fan in the stands or a player on the field, that's a very different space to be in. You know, the fans in the stands, they're always talking about what needs to be done, what should be done. You know, they should have run this play, they should have not done that, you know, etc. Whereas the people on the field, the people actually playing the game, they don't have time to think about that stuff. They cannot think about the game that's being played on the same level as the fan. They would get run over and get crushed. They're too busy executing, getting things done on a level that the fan will never understand. They won't understand the prep that went into it. They won't understand what's happening. And I say that, I love being a fan. But as it relates to our lives, most of us don't realize that we're a fan in the stands of our own lives. You know, we're sitting back talking about the things that we want to do, the things that we're going to do, or the things that we did in the past. We're not really living in action right now. And I'm really passionate about this topic. I talk about it pretty frequently, and yeah, it's unfortunate because I was actually failing miserably at this for some time and didn't even realize it. You know, for a long time, I made a commitment. I was going to help veterans. I was going to step out, help veterans, and do everything that I could to empower veterans to get into a good space. And you know, a couple years ago, did a few things, hit some stumbling blocks, and never really did anything after that. It wasn't till a few days ago that I met into another veteran, a good buddy of mine, and we talked about it. He had been doing all this great stuff, and I was like, man, getting my butt kicked over here. This dude is doing these great things, and here I am. I made this commitment. I talked about it, and you know, I got carried away. And the things I got carried away with are, you know, what type of artwork should I put up with this? What would be the best name? What type of microphone to get? All these different things. And so here I am talking to this good buddy of mine. Finally made the commitment. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And so I sit down, plug in everything that I have. I go to press record, and I don't have the right wire. I don't have the right equipment to actually hook it up. And so I overnighted this one little cord, and this cord shows up, set up to go do it, and again, still the wrong cord. It wasn't until I got the one that's currently plugged in, obviously, right now, that I was able to sit back and actually do this recording. And that's really how it goes in all areas of life for all of us, in so many different ways that we're not even aware of. You know, here I was thinking about all these different things, thinking that I was procrastinating. You know, in my mind, I was like, I could do it. I was going to go do it. I was going to go record the podcast. I was going to do the things. And thinking that I had the equipment, that I was ready to go, that it was just my choice that was limiting me. And it wasn't until I actually stepped down and took action that I realized I don't even have the right wire. Whereas take any any veteran of podcasting, of making videos, would have come down and looked at my setup and been like, all right, big guy, I think you're missing some critical elements. And yeah, it's a wire. But where else is this showing up? That's what I like to think about. Where else is it showing up for me? Where I'm thinking about, talking about doing these things, setting goals for myself, kind of procrastinating them, letting all these thoughts flood in about what I should do, what shouldn't do, where the reality is, where you're actually going to find what needs to be done is putting in the action, actually putting in the work. And that happens on the field, in the arena. That's where it happens. And that brings us here today. My goal is to empower veterans. That's what I want to do. That's my commitment to each one of you. My goal is to empower veterans. So whether you're a veteran right now, you're in the military, considering going to the military, I've talked to quite a few spouses of veterans. I believe there's going to be some value that's going to be offered up in each one of these episodes. And really what I want to do is just define some of these terms, because I chose Victorious Veteran Project very, very intentionally. Very intentionally. If you think about the term veteran, I actually went and pulled up some of these definitions. Former member of the armed services. A former member, meaning used to be in the service, not now. And I think all too often we talk about our time in service as veterans as if it was still happening today. And it's not. That was, for me, God, we crossed the board. I was just talking about to link up with one of my best buds. He's actually going to be here this weekend. We were just joking. We're about to hit the 20-year mark from when we crossed the border. We crossed the border in Iraq in March of 2003, 20 years ago. And it disappears. It flies by. But man, we talk about that stuff as if it was today, and it's just not. That's all in the past. And it doesn't minimize it. It doesn't make it bad. It just means that talking about it isn't actually putting action into today's work. And then victory. Victory was a very intentional word as well. And I'm just going to read off. Mastery or success in a struggle or endeavor against odds or difficulties. That's the definition. Mastery or success in a struggle or endeavor against odds or difficulties. And that's my hope, because I think a lot of veterans out there, myself included, we can hit some stumbling blocks along the way, and we don't know where to go. We don't know who to look to. And that's my hope, is to reach out and connect with you. And if that interests you, if becoming a victorious veteran interests you, then stay tuned, because that's what we're going to be talking about. I think I've got a lot of different things that are going to be able to help quite a few veterans, much more than what's going to pack inside of this one episode here. My goal is to keep these short, concise, to leave you with some clear action items, and hopefully some insight on some things that may be giving you some struggle today. But that's my challenge for you today, right now, as we wrap up this episode. Know that, really, truly, a big place that I'm going to ask you to step into is step away from what you did in service and look at what we're doing today. What are we doing today, right now? Not minimizing, not forgetting about your time in service and what you did. Thank you all for what you've done. Yet let's take a look into the future. In fact, let's take a look right now. What are the goals? What are the action items that we have today? Because if you look at when you were in the arena and your time of service, man, I think about, and I share this only because I know all of you can relate. You can sit back and think about your moment in time. I remember I went to amphibious reconnaissance school in the Marine Corps back in 2002, and there was not a single thing on planet Earth that was going to stop me from completing that school. I mean, I was just hell-bent on making that happen. Nothing was going to get in my way. And if you think about all of that fire, everything that we had, again, I know that you joined up. You had all of this piss and vinegar ready to go. You were making things happen. In fact, you did make things happen. And now, fast forward to where we're at today, what excites you to that same level? What are we doing today that we're spending that much time focused in on it? Or are we spending time talking about the past? And that could be a source of where we're at. And just know that I'm going to ask you to step outside that. I'm going to ask you to look to the future and really take action today, because that's what it's going to be about. Being a victorious veteran is finding victory after service. That's what I want for you. Find success after service. So if that excites you, if that at least piques your interest, well, then stay tuned. I'm excited to get your ear, chat with you for a little bit. I wanted to step into the arena, committed to this, and just really get the ball rolling on this. I'm very, very excited. We're probably going to talk a little bit more about the arena, and I've already got a couple of things lined up, but I'm pumped about talking to you next week. Thank you very much for your time. Make it a great week.